welcome executive producer Abby Hernandez and stars Ben Savage, Lindsay Navarro, and Erica Durance of Girl in the Shed, The Kidnapping of Abby Hernandez. Thank you all for being here today.
Yay. Hi.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello.
Thank you. Our first question is from Right on Digital.
Hi, am I muted?
You're good.
Nope.
Hi, this question is for anyone who would like to answer it. Tell us a behind the scenes story about something that took place on set.
Behind the scenes. Erica, Ben, you got anything? And there's so much that happened.
Yeah. Well, you can tell us a fun fact.
Okay, I've got one. Okay. So there's a scene where Abby and Kibby are outside. It's their first time being outside, Abby's first time being outside in, I believe, 6 months. And there's a scene where she has this moment, a beautiful moment with a horse. But in reality, this horse was not having it. He did not want to be there. So there's a couple scenes there where you see this beautiful, majestic horse, and then there's another scene where you see a close-up of my face. The horse is not there because the horse is taken off. He like completely jetted. It was quite funny, and all of us were a little bit scared because he was running across the field. Yeah, it was a great time.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, that we watched. Not to do any spoilers, but remember when we, Lindsay, we had to walk in the field and we had to be looking straight up and it had to be very graceful.
Oh yeah.
We kept trying to avoid all the, I don't know, there was a bunch of cow pies and all sorts of stuff. Yeah. And then, so you're trying to have this like ethereal, really beautiful moment, and we're trying to spot check each other somehow by not looking down.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, fun times.
Thank you. Abby, did you have a chance to speak with the cast before they shot the film?
Yes, pretty much everybody, all the main characters, everybody that's here.
Awesome, thank you. Noah, you're up next.
Hello, everyone. By the way, Erica, great to see you again.
Oh, hi, Noah. I don't see you, but I hear you and I know your voice.
Yes. Well, it's so great to be here with you guys. First off, Abby, I do want to ask you, being executive producer, but also this being your story, how is it like to relive this, something that happened to you personally, but it come to life in a movie on Lifetime based on a true story?
Obviously it's a weird experience to have this happen in the first place, and then to have it made into a movie is obviously like an even weirder experience. But ultimately I did find it healing in a weird way. Just to have it, I don't know, looked at in a perception.
Lindsay, this is a film based on the real life kidnapping of, Abby, 14 years old, learning her full story. What was it like for you to personally portray Abby on screen and act out some of the scenes of what actually went on in her, real life?
Yeah, wow, there was such a responsibility that came with that, it being a true story, knowing that Abby was a part of the project. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to do it as well, knowing that Abby was on board. So it was challenging in that way, but it all made it easier knowing that I could get in touch with Abby and we could talk things through. So for that, I will be forever grateful having her there, accessible on WhatsApp, getting to video chat with her. But yeah, it made it heavier. It made it heavier, and it was challenging to walk through those scenes knowing that she had experienced this and there was that weight that came with it.
Now, Erica, I want to, last question goes to you, my friend. What will viewers learn from watching this movie that's based on Abby's real life story?
Oh, I don't know if that should be, thank you for giving that to me. I think that's more of an Abby question. I suppose I can only share part of what I learned playing the part of Zenya in it, and in speaking with her is the absurdity, the cruelty of life, the beauty that can come out of things that are awful. And with Zenya, I found that she was just so incredibly powerful and strong, and I was kind of awestruck in dealing with her and talking to her. So originally when I was going to do this, she talked me through her whole experience, and it was incredibly generous of her. It was a 3-hour phone call, but yeah, I don't quite know how to answer that succinctly, which is why I'm bumbling about, but it's just, it's the human spirit, and what we are capable of doing, what we are capable of doing to each other, how we are capable of finding our way around it in some way. But I do feel like I'm not actor playing it. It wasn't my story in that sense, but I think it will be really awe-inspiring for a lot of people.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Great to see you again, Erica.
Thank you,
Bye,
Noah.
guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Jay?
Thank you very much. Erica, actually, my question is also for you and kind of puts a different twist on what was just asked. The mother
Okay.
role in these
Maybe I can do
projects.
better this time. Anybody else can kind of chime in as I bumble about. Look
I'm
for the
sure,
right
I'm,
word.
I'm sure you'll do fine. The mother role in these projects, it's interesting because depending on how it's cast, who's playing it, how much they're given attention in the script, we've seen Jenny Garth do it, and she did it to a great extent in the one that she was in. Jolie Fisher did one, and she had maybe a few scenes here and there. It was largely, where's my daughter? What happened to my daughter, etc. With you, as you approach this, how did you approach the mother role? Because you want to make your mark, but even as you said, it's really the daughter's story. How did you go about portraying the mother to make your mark in the film based on what you'd read in the script?
Well, the first thing that I did was talk to Zenya, and I think that's very important when we're trying, you're doing a true story, so you're portraying somebody else. You have to get inside as much as they'll allow you access to their process and what it was like. And so because she was so incredibly generous, as I said, in really walking me through the scenario, and like Lindsay had mentioned, there was a couple of moments on the set where I was going to do a scene that was specific and to something that kind of had happened to her, and I just had a last minute need to call her and go, what was it that you did when this happened? And she was just right there and just so helpful. So that gave me a blueprint of how she would have done it. And then at the end of the day, you have to take the situation that you're dealing with and process it in the way that you would just naturally, if you can be natural, but how you would respond to those given situations as truthfully as you can. And for myself, it was tricky because I have little kids. And so I knew that there was going to be a point where I would probably step into a zone which was difficult to come back to and figure out how to separate myself from it, but you kind of have to dive into it. And so for myself, that because it was such an intense, every day was intense, and they shot my stuff all very sequentially. So I had, 5 days, and it was all the scenes, and it was all of it all at once in that way. I just kind of locked myself in my green room and listened to music constantly, and then just tried to give it my best. And I depended a lot on Jess Harmon, who was our wonderful director, to help guide me through those different nuances and what she believed as truthful and maybe not as truthful, or kept me on point with the story as close as I could be.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ben and Lindsay, most of your scenes are together. What was it like working together for this project, and how did you tap into these characters, of course, speaking with Abby and crafting the relationship?
Yeah, Ben, you go for it.
I think that it's such a difficult subject, and it's such a complicated story that I think Lindsay and I both wanted to be very careful about how we approach the subject and how we approach the relationship. And I think when we first got started, I think Lindsay and I were both a little apprehensive about making sure that we did this properly, but I think we gelled together as well as we could. I mean, Lindsay is a total pro, and we had a wonderful crew, a wonderful cast, a terrific director with Jess Harmon, and I think we worked together as well as we could. It's a tough subject, and I think everyone wanted to be very sensitive to everything we were going through, but yeah, it was a interesting journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we gave each other space when we needed to have space. When there was a difficult scene coming up that we needed to film where it was perhaps more emotional or more physically demanding, we would give each other that needed space. And then there were other times where Ben and I would check in with one another, make sure we were doing okay. I really appreciated that from Ben, actually, that he would come over and just ensure that I was comfortable, I was content, and truly, I mean, you said it right, Ben. We had an amazing cast, amazing crew that made everything feel very safe and easy to drop into. But it was a challenge.
Thank you both so much. Rick?
Hi, thanks for the time. Abby, I can't even pretend to wrap my head around the hell on earth you went through with this. I'm just wondering where you found the strength and the courage to face it again through this production. And ultimately, what do you want to come out of this?
Ultimately, I guess I'll answer the last question first. What I want to come out of this is awareness, I guess. I think that a lot of teenagers, since, you know, the age of social media and socialness is such an important thing, I think everybody, or not everybody, but a lot of people have that voice in the back of their head. Oh, if, you know, I disappeared, it wouldn't matter. And I learned that, yeah, it does matter. It affects a lot of people and it will forever. And then I guess, you know, the first question, how did I muster the courage to, you know, sign off to do this movie? You know, it's nothing new to me. It's something I've it's in here constantly. It has been in there since 2013. I'm almost kind of numb to it. You know what I mean? And I feel like the world has progressed since then. You know, when I did not want to give Kibby up. I was really, you know, under tight pressure. And that's when I gave up and I said, I know the name of the person. But we're in a day and age now where I think, you know, it's encouraged to be honest about what's going on. I don't feel as scared anymore.
And Abby, if I can follow real quickly, have you seen the final film?
Yes.
Was it a tough watch?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Abby. The other Abby Bernstein.
Hi, thank you all for doing this. For Ms. Hernandez, can you talk about changes made between reality and the telefilm, either for time or dramatic clarity, or things that they felt would help people understand the story better that maybe happened differently?
Sure. I think the ultimate thing that, you know, trust in the movie seemed to be kind of linear. At first it was nothing and then it grew. I think in real life, Kibby was almost in sort of a way, I don't want to say manic, but he would trust me and then no trust. Trust me and then no trust. So marijuana cleaning was one of the very first things that happened in October. In the movie, it was portrayed afterwards once he had really gained my trust. So I think that's basically what it was. And ultimately, that's kind of true. I mean, he didn't trust me at first, really, at all, to see his face or know his name. But later on, he did. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a good way of portraying it.
So his psychological ping-ponging was made more streamlined for the film.
Yes, exactly.
And were there any things about you that you thought, oh, I wouldn't have done it like that, or gee, I wish I had done it like that?
Lindsay was more classy than me. Gosh, I don't know. I mean, I really don't know.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Suzanne?
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Ben, you usually play the good guy. Have you ever played this kind of psycho role before, and was it challenging?
It was certainly a change of pace for me, but again, as everyone said here, I think it was such an important story to tell, and I was just happy to be a part of the storytelling in the film, and yeah, certainly a departure, but it was a very interesting role to play.
I'll bet. And Erica, were you familiar with everyone that worked on the show before? Or had you worked with any of them previously?
I knew Jess Harmon through her family, so I kind of knew of her, but I hadn't met anyone else. I was, of course, familiar with Lindsay and Ben, and Abby somewhat through the news, right? But otherwise, it was all, it was kind of the first day meeting everybody.
Great. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have time for one more with the Hollywood Times.
Hi, could you talk about if this film, how it's relevant to the others that are in the Lifetime's Girls Initiative? And also, what can young women learn from watching the film?
The first question, I just want to jump in for a second. The first question is more of a question that we are happy to get you an answer to on the press side, but the cast can answer the second.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, can you repeat the second one again?
Yeah, what can young women learn from watching this film?
Well,
Keep your cool.
sorry, Abby, go ahead.
Oh, I just said to keep your cool, which is easier said than done, especially as I've gotten older. But yeah.
Abby, one of the things that your mother said to me, and you mentioned in some of the earlier conversations we had, which still shocks me to this day, is your ability to, where you kept your cool in a way, the way your mother described it was to somehow find a way of seeing the humanity in the person that was treating you so cruelly, and use that as a survival technique. And that still to this day is just shocking to me, that you were able to somehow see that and find a way to make a connection with this person who was doing these things, and spoke to such a huge amount of power and strength. And I believe the young gals and whoever's watching this, men or women, I think that will be something that it resonates a lot.
If I could just jump on that, I would just say I certainly can't speak about what women can take away, but I think a larger message, of course, that I certainly took away from it was just strength and strength of character. And I think everyone associated with this film was so impressed with Abby and her story. And I do think there are some lessons to be learned here. But I'm just glad that we were all able to come together and tell this wonderful story as best a way we could. And Lindsay, I think you should jump in too.
Yeah. I was just going to add on as well the tremendous courage that Abby had and continues to have in being so passionate about sharing this story as well. It's truly remarkable. And I'm with you, Ben. I think it's for a larger audience. I think a lot of people are going to be inspired and will continue to be inspired by Abby's story. And the crew valued it so much as well. Everyone was so careful about telling this story as truthfully as we could, and with such passion into telling it. So I think people can take away this hope, the power of prayer, the power of faith, and the power of not giving up.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you to the cast and to Abby. You are all fantastic in this film. Please make sure to tune in to Girl in the Shed, The Kidnapping of Abby Hernandez on February 26th at 8/7